Also making headlines this weekend was the fact that the bright yellow street signs appealing for witnesses to serious incidents are no longer to be a feature on British streets. According to new reports, the Met Police hope to reduce the fear of crime by effectively banning them for all but exceptional circumstances. But will the reduction of yellow signs on your streets make you feel any safer?
Well, I don't quite understand this, really. Ignorance is bliss, then, is it? I think... I mean, weren't they useful? Is that the... Because I always stop and read them. You know, I think, oh, gosh, that's happened. Where was I? Oh, where was I? But, well, I'm very suspicious anyway of it's probably to save money, isn't it? Or they don't want somebody to have to write it out or something. I would have thought it was a good thing that you're aware if there's crime in the area and you're made aware of it. Forearmed is forewarned.
I think a good reason probably to stop it would be if they weren't working. You know, if for some reason the police decided they weren't effective and they weren't helping catch criminals and they weren't getting results because of that. I don't think people being scared or creating an air of, you know, that there's more crime than there really is a reason to get rid of them. I don't know anyone that's actually rung up and said, oh, well, was there I bet there are people that are just a bit like ghoulish that just ring up and go, oh, I just want to be involved, and you know.
But I would be very surprised if they haven't worked in some instances, and surely that's, you know, even if you only have a success rate of 1% of all the signs you put up, somebody does come forward. I'm like you, I always stop, you know, if it's somewhere in my local area and think, where was I, would I have seen anything?
Yeah.
And I never have, but you know, you never know.
I don't think the fact that people are scared of them is a reason to get rid of them. I think the reason to get rid of them should be that they're not actually working.
Yeah.
I think it's much more sinister than that, believe it or not.
Yes. What's your theory?
Well, I do, because you know, weirdly, where I live, near where I live, there used to be, you know, I mean, there was just lines of them. I used to call it Yellow Boardwalk. There were just loads of them. And in a way, you know, it didn't scare me. I just thought, oh, it's terrible, isn't it? But I haven't seen any for ages near where I live, and I thought that was, until I read this today, I thought, God, it's true, they have gone.
Maybe they've been nicked.
But I do think that, you know, the crime figures were out last week, and I think this is all part of the government's master plan to try and get us to believe that crime has actually gone down.
Do you think it's more of a PR move to get rid of these?
Yeah, I do. I know I am
but
one of those...
the crime figures said that burglary and muggings had gone up.
Yeah, they have gone up, but, you know, overall, crime has gone down. The way they've massaged the figures, they've changed the way some of the crimes are categorised, like knife crime, for instance. You know, there's like 5 categories of knife crime now. Knife crime's knife crime, isn't it?
But they don't put all crimes on the yellow boards, do they?
No, they don't. No, violent crime and fatal accidents, and that's it. But they're just not putting them. And I do think that people might, you know, subliminally realise or register that, oh, I haven't seen one of those yellow boards for ages. Oh, crime must be down, and then they start to believe those figures.
I also think
that's what I think.
But also, with anything with the Metropolitan Police on it, in certain communities, certainly in and around London, people just don't want to help the police. There's a kind of big trust thing there where they just don't.
It's interesting, actually. It's interesting you say that, because in addition to this new measure, the Home Secretary, Alan Johnson, wants to make officers more approachable, and one way he's proposed to restore confidence in the police force would be for the police to wear name tags rather than the numbers that they currently have.
This is good. Then when they get abused, you can call them by name. Here, you, whoa, it'll be here, Bob, come here.
But it wouldn't restore any kind of feeling of community
so
for you.
It drives me. The point about the police, ask a policeman, he doesn't want to be loved or talked to. He wants a bit of respect. You know, giving him a name doesn't make any difference.
I disagree completely. I think if you can... Well, yes, being a... I am just a pretend one, but I do think if you can humanise a police person, you know, in the community, is what we're saying about. If there's... Bobbies aren't allowed to be bobbies in the community anymore. The Metropolitan Police are so PC, they're not even allowed to connect with the people in the community because they're not allowed to approach them, they're not allowed to build up relationships because they have to, you know, before they can even go... If they know the people in the community. If there's a naughty boy there, they're not allowed to go up to him and say, look, I know what you like, I know what you've been up to, I'm going to take you to your mum and dad, we're going to sort it out. They can't use police initiative anymore.
But they can use their name. They don't need a badge. They can say,
I know
my
they look
name
a bit
is...
like game show contestants with their names on their badges, but I think if you can actually start at that point, if you start on the shop floor by making the policeman in your community a person with a name who you can connect with, maybe, hopefully, it will take a blooming long time, but eventually eventually, as a body of people, we might start to trust the police again.
Well, you know, the other thing is, I agree with you. The police are having a very difficult time. It's hard for them to do their job because they're strangled by political correctness, red tape, all that stuff. And it is hard for them. But also, the other reason people don't trust the police lately is because there's been quite a few incidents. And I know, you know, there are bad apples, and it's not all of them, but there have been some incidents of horrible police brutality. And so people have a general mistrust in the police. You know,
in that sense, then the badges might be a good thing.
That's what I think.
Because it would have to make them more justifiable for their actions if they've got their name on there.
Yes, but in those situations, it's well publicised that they remove even their numbers. They're not going to be walking around with great big name badges on, are they?
No, but as you said, the police are all individuals, and there are some bad apples, and there are some good apples as well. And if they've got names and they're humanised, they have personalities.
Mr. Plod suffices.
Right, competition time.